Have you ever died and come back to life? Well, I have, and so have many other people. Tonight we're talking about near-death experiences. Stay tuned. There have been many accounts of people who have died and returned to speak about their brush with the beyond. First of all, we must define what is a near-death experience. The definition. A near-death experience, or NDE, is a profound psychological event that may occur to a person close to death or, if not near death, in a situation or physical or emotional crisis. Because it includes transcendental and mystical elements, an NDE is a powerful event of consciousness. It is not a mental illness. Whether happening, quote unquote, truly near death or under benign circumstances, the near-death experience contains powerful images and emotions, usually of peace and love, though sometimes of terror and despair and guilt. An NDE may include an out-of-body experience and a vivid perception of movement, light, darkness, encounters with deceased loved ones, unfamiliar entities, and or other spiritual presences. Sometimes a life review, a landscape, a sense of an overpowering knowledge and purpose can occur. The afterlife effects of the near-death experience or related experience are enduring, often very powerful, and may be life-altering. Here's a little history about the near-death experiences. The earliest known description of a near-death experience was recounted by Plato in his Myth of found at the end of the Book X of the Republic, which was written in 420 BC. Accounts can be found in the folklore and writings of European, Middle Eastern, African, East Indian, East Asian, Pacific, and Native American cultures. The term near-death experience was coined by Dr. Raymond Moody in his book Life After Life in 1975. The International Association for Near-Death Studies, or IANDS, was formed in 1981 by a group of researchers subsequent to the outpouring of requests for more information about NDES, or near-death experiences. Now, let's talk about some of the statistics of near-death experiences. Surveys taken in the US, Australia, Germany suggest that 4 to 15% of the population have had near-death experiences. Every day in the US, 774 near-death experiences do occur, according to the Near-Death Experiences Research Foundation. Of more than 800 near-death experiences, reporting to the Research Foundation believe that 25% were clinically dead at the time of their near-death experience. A large study conducted in the Netherlands showed that 18% of people who suffered a cardiac arrest and were clinically dead had later reported a near-death experience. Here is my story. I have had 2 near-death experiences. The first happened while I was in college. I had an episode of sleep apnea, and this is where your heart briefly stops beating. I was having a dream. Inside of this dream, I believe towards the end of the dream, I saw my mother, who died when I was around 11 years old. We were in a grassy field near a lake. It was very hilly. There were many people around us who were very happy and laughing. They appeared to be having picnics and enjoying the beautiful sunshine, which was bright and absolutely gorgeous. The most beautiful day I've ever seen. I saw her sitting on the grass, and when she noticed me, she stood up and came to me smiling. At that moment, I realized that I was dreaming and thought that this is the perfect opportunity to talk to her, to touch her, and just hold her. This had actually became a lucid dream. I will talk about lucid dreaming in later videos, so stay tuned for that. I ran to her and I hugged her tightly. She held me back and told me in the most soothing voice that everything will be all right. It's okay. It's okay. I could touch her, feel her, and even smell her. I made a decision at that moment to never leave her. I knew she was dead, And I wanted to die too so I could be with her forever. I held on tighter and tighter, and then something strange began to happen. The world around us went dark, pitch black. Something was trying to pry me from her. I could feel the force between us trying to rip her from my grasp, but I held on tighter. I wasn't about to let her go. I wanted to die. Then all of a sudden, there was a sonic boom, and she was gone. I was floating in darkness. I saw a bright white light in front of me as at the end of a long tunnel. And of course, we all know this is very similar to what many people account as in a near-death experience, what happens to them. They see a bright light in a tunnel. I started to move or float towards this light. Then I heard this voice, not my mother's voice, a deep, soothing yet thundering voice that said, "No, go back." And then the light was gone, and I woke up. It was like emerging from underwater. I gasped for air. My husband at the time was trying to wake me, and I saw him over me. I was awake, and I was back. He asked me if I was all right. It took me a moment to catch my breath. I was alive again. The next near-death experience I had was just a few years ago. I had cancer of the breast, stage 3. I was just about to start my chemotherapy treatments because I had to have my chemotherapy treatments before they removed the tumor. It was in such a dire strait, they had to make the tumor smaller in order to remove it. So I was definitely near death at that point. I needed to get a port placed in my chest in order to have my chemotherapy treatments. This is a pretty minor surgery, but of course, you are put under for the surgery. I was used to being put under using anesthesia, and in the past and even after this surgery, it was always the same. You count backwards, you go out, the next thing you know, I'm coming out of it. No dreams, no nothing. But this was different. I went under, and I had an experience. I opened my eyes, and I was in a dark room. I was aware of the floor beneath me and I could breathe. Directly in front of me was a light source, a doorway. Now this light was very dim coming from that door, yet something was compelling me to move towards it. But then there were people in front of it, as if blocking the doorway. I was a little perturbed by this, a little pissed off actually, because I wanted to go into the doorway. And again, they were blocking it. They were in front of it. I looked at them trying to make out their faces, but they were only silhouettes. I couldn't see their faces at all. I couldn't see any kind of features at all. But I could feel their eyes upon me. It was so many of them. I don't know. The number may have been about 50 or more. They were human, and it was clear that they were blocking the doorway. They did not want me to enter. I suddenly had the realization that this was not a dream, and this was not my time to cross over. Soon, I woke and heard the chatter from the doctors and nurses in the operating room. Later, when I told my son Kyle about my experience, his face went white. He told me that when the doctor came out to speak to him in the waiting room, she mentioned that things had gotten a little hairy during the surgery, just for a moment, but I pulled through and was resting comfortably in the recovering room. He was very troubled by my story because of what the doctor had told him, and he recounted what the doctor had told him to me. What I saw was not a dream. I had once again died. Apparently there is more for me to do since I am still here. Look, people, there is more out there. You do not just die and flitter out of existence. There is so much more. Near-death experiences, the experience of seeing ghosts, there is more out there. There is more to you than just this reality. And if you want to say, oh, well, okay, that's all very nice. It's very spiritual. It's very great if you want to believe that. But science has a different theory. Well, actually, if you will take a look at quantum physics, a lot of the things that people are talking about regarding ghosts near-death experiences, the continuation of life after death, and even reincarnation can be explained, or at least theorized, by some of the things that we already know now about quantum physics. So check that out. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure to subscribe and to learn more about my supernatural experiences that I've had over the time. I will definitely make this a series. The truth is out there speaking to you. You just have to open your mind to hear it. Peace, 2 fingers.